Hello, folks. It is Sunday evening, March 5th. In this video, we're going to look at Nevada King Gold. The reason I'm looking at mining stocks this weekend is this chart right here. This is GDXJ. This is my proxy for the mining sector. You can look at the chart of GDX. They look pretty much the same. What we've got is a strong correction back to a support level, and now a nice rise off of that support level. Notice that we actually gapped over and found support above the 200-day moving average, and we've pressed even higher from that point. Got a new buy signal on Friday. Energy, as measured by stochastics, is elevated and rising sharply. So nice action in the mining stocks here in the daily time frame. The markets have opened. The futures markets for gold and silver have opened Sunday evening. And what's exciting about this chart is that's a new buy signal in MACD. And energy, again, elevated, rising sharply, new buy signal, nice price action. Gold's looking real nice here. So, and again, strong correction, found support, got a nice bounce off of that support level. Same or similar in silver, new buy signal tonight, MACD, energy about mid-range and rising. So again, silver's looking good. Obviously got some overhead resistance. Same with gold. I'm assuming that we'll work our way through that, and that the metals and the mining stocks are on the start of a fresh up leg. That's my expectation. So Nevada King, this is their presentation. It's a big deck, 44 pages. You can go look at it. I'm going to cover some of the highlights for me, things that I found of interest. So Nevada King took advantage of the bear market in precious metals. So gold peaked in 2012, and then we had a fairly grueling bear market. And while the other companies were, sucking it up, trying to deal with the bear market, Nevada King was out there staking land in Nevada. And so they've become the third largest claim holder in Nevada, and evidently they have plans to become the second largest claim holder in Nevada. They've focused on the Battle Mountain trend, which has had 92 million ounces of gold discovered to date. All of the companies combined that are working that trend have discovered 92 million ounces. It's always a good strategy. If you're looking for gold, go look where others have already found it. That's exactly what Nevada King is doing. So Nevada is one of the top 5 mining jurisdictions. Nevada King says in their presentation, they say it's number 1. Bob Moriarty says that Nevada is number 1 or number 2. So top 2, according to Bob. One of the things that I didn't like seeing in the presentation is that many shares outstanding. And I'll tell you why I'm sensitive to this. So one of the companies that I held during this bull market, 2002 to 2012, we had a bull market in the mining stocks. And I had a silver mining company that they had, at the time, it was 486 million shares outstanding. And I didn't, at the time, I wasn't savvy enough about mining to understand what that meant or how that might affect how a stock performs. That stock didn't do anything. all of the other, well, not all of them, but I sat there and I watched my portfolio and any number of stocks that performed quite well during the bull market, and this stock just sat. And I didn't understand it at the time, but you know, the more shares you have outstanding, the harder it is to get the price of that stock to move. So I'm a little bit concerned about the number of shares they have outstanding, but that's me. Do your own due diligence. If that's not an issue for you, that's fine. I just make a note of it. And let me, I am a shareholder in Nevada King. I may buy a little bit more. It's got a pretty nice setup for a trade. Investing long term, maybe not, but it is setting up for a trade. So, we'll look at the charts here in a moment. As part of this, I'd be okay, if they had 300 million shares outstanding and 90% of them were tightly held, like Dolly. Dolly doesn't have that many shares outstanding, but 90% of the Dolly shares are tightly held. If that were true of Nevada, I wouldn't care how many shares they had outstanding as long as they were tightly held. A little bit hard to tell based on the way they have presented this information. So there's 300 million shares outstanding, fully diluted. We can see that the CEO's got 15.5%, board of directors and management, another 5%, 33% in the next 10 largest shareholders, but they don't tell us who that is. And then the 46.5 others, that gets them their 100%. But anyway, if they had an exciting story to tell here, they would be telling it. And so the way they've presented this information just makes me wonder, what is the share structure? And again, I'm looking for some indication that it's that the bulk of the shares are tightly held. And so I went looking for, okay, who's invested in this company? And this was all I found. So, again, that's even fewer shares accounted for. That's not even 20% there, the total of those. And so I'm guessing, based on the information that I have at hand, 20% of the shares roughly are tightly held, and we can't really say anything more than that. We don't know what that 33% looks like. Be nice if Nevada King kind of itemized a little bit greater detail on their share structure. But so more highlights. Nevada King has the Atlanta Gold Mine. That's their primary focus. It's an open pit mine. It's a past producing mine. In their presentation, they say it was a producing mine from 75 to 85. Bob Moriarty, in one of his articles, says that it is Atlanta Gold Mine was a producer from 1905 to 1985. So question mark on when this mine started production, but ended in 1985. This is the main project for Nevada King. They've got 9 other projects in their hopper. They've got a 30,000 meter drill program underway. They're expecting to complete that mid-year. This property is 100% owned by Nevada King. They also make a point in their presentation that 98% of their land claims are 100% belong to Nevada King. There's no underlying royalty streams, JVs, any of that kind of stuff. So that's a good thing that Nevada King has a controlling interest. They have a technical report that was done in 2020. Based on that report, 200,000 ounces of gold, 1.86 million ounces of silver. That's the measured. If we add in the indicated, we get up to 460,000 ounces of gold and 4 million ounces of silver. Based on my understanding, we need 1 million ounces of gold before the majors would be interested in this company as a buyout. I'm not sure what that number is for silver. Year-round access to the property, and in the presentation they show, it's easy road access, and there's power and water in place near the property. Near the Atlanta gold mine, they have power and water, and so that's a good thing. That's infrastructure that doesn't have to be paid for again. It's already in place. So let's jump into the charts. Here in the monthly time frame, we can see that Nevada King has been doing this sideways consolidation. We could draw. They're kind of in a trading zone or trading range, roughly there. But anyway, sideways bumping, currently running into resistance at the upper median line of this Andrews pitchfork. So overhead resistance, accumulation distribution is not exciting. So investors, looks like they've been letting go of their shares, not hanging on to shares long term. MACD is in bear mode, but currently on a buy signal. Energy is below halfway. So not really exciting here in the monthly time frame. Let's drop down to the weekly. Looking a little bit better. So one of the things I notice here is we've got a nice advance and then a pullback. If we look at it, that looks like we could have a let's see where we're at relative to Fibonacci retracement. We can see that price is bouncing there. That's the 50% level, kind of bouncing along sideways there for several weeks, finding support on the, this is the 40-week moving average. And notice the lower wicks on these candles. And so that's a bullish indication when we get lower wicks on the candles like that. So not bad price action here in the weekly time frame. And the accumulation distribution looks a lot better. That in the last few months, investors have been accumulating this stock. MACD is in bull mode. Notice that both indicator lines are above the zero level, and we're on a buy signal. Energy is elevated. So not bad in the weekly time frame. Let's drop down to the daily. And we can see, again, sideways consolidation, finding support along the 200-day moving average. Looks like the 50-day was also acting as support. And now we've got some confused price action. There's a lot going on with the moving averages, which, of course, moving averages don't really mean anything. What matters is that human beings are looking at these moving averages and they're taking trades based on the moving averages. And that's why we pay attention to those when we're doing technical analysis. Accumulation distribution, so clearly investors are accumulating the shares of this company. MACD is in bull mode, not on a buy signal yet, but that could happen very shortly. Energy elevated and rising, so volume is not exciting. Volume's not exciting. So what I would note, another thing I would note here in the daily time frame, and again, the shares outstanding make me leery of investing in this company long term, but it's set up pretty well for another run up here to this resistance level. And so, we're currently at 36. That's 43, or the prior high. Let's talk about 42. So 6 cents doesn't sound like much, only that's 15% move. So might look at this as a potential trade. up to at least the prior high for a 15% gain. So no guarantees, but always possibility. That's the charts. We got a couple articles from Bob Moriarty. This one was February 7, so recent article from Bob. He's pointing out that we're getting high-grade results from Nevada King, and these are all of these are good drill holes. Remember in yesterday's video, I talked about the rule of 100, and so if we just quick, so there's 150, that's 100, that's 100, that's 100. That's 100 and change. All of these holes are over 100. So, as a mining geologist, those numbers, not that you would get excited about them, but you would at least be thinking, hey, I may have a economically viable deposit here. And the fact that all of the holes are coming in at 100 or better is another indication that they're onto something good. Bob's telling us that oxide gold is significant. 90 holes, steady flow of information. So that's important. Investors lose interest quickly, and when investors lose interest in the mining stocks, they tend to sell their shares and move on, which of course that doesn't support higher prices. So it's always good to have a steady flow of information. Let's see, Bob's been to the property. They currently have a tech report. Bob's saying 600,000 ounces of gold, 5.5 million ounces of silver. He's including inferred, and so he's adding in the inferred to get those numbers. He's pointing out that the drill results for the past year are not included in the 43-101. That was done in 2020. So these numbers will grow. And then Bob is suggesting that they are likely to transition to an open underground mine quickly. But I don't necessarily see that as a positive thing. What I see there is that they're going from a low-cost open pit mining model to an underground mining model, which is not cheap. And potentially, well, yeah, how are they going to fund it other than further dilution of the shares? And they're already at 300 million shares. And so anyway, I'm not excited about the idea of them going underground. But Bob certainly knows more than I when it comes to those matters. Talking about management. Another article, this is back in October 7, and nothing really exciting about new information. There's nothing in here that we haven't already talked about. So there's Bob saying that original discovery of the mine was back in 1905. So that's all I've got for Nevada King. Again, I am a shareholder. I've already got shares in Nevada. I may pick up a few more shares, if nothing else, just for a run up to this prior high, and decide what to do with those shares at that point. And of course, it'll depend on what the overall mining sector is doing. And again, the mining sector is looking good based on GDXJ. New buy signal. All right, folks, I will talk to you soon, actually in the next video.